Breanne coming to you from Ignite Cycle and Strength. This is your Ignite on Demand yoga class. Thank you so much for making the time today to come and practice, come to your mat and enjoy a few moments of mindfulness, of stretching, and just some self-care as I call it. So thanks again for tuning in. A couple quick things that we'll go through before we get started here today, and then we'll begin our practice. So as always, we want to begin our practice on our yoga mat. So if you don't have your yoga mat rolled out, now's a great time to grab it. You want to make sure that you find a place in your house that is quiet, calm, peaceful, and that you won't have any interruptions during our practice today. Make sure you have some water with you as well, that's very important. Some props, as always, I always bring my blocks to my classes even if I don't use them. So again, if you have blocks or the equivalent at home, great time to get those out. Always nice to have a strap too if you want to do some additional stretching. Also, if you want a blanket, it's really nice for your final Shavasana. Also a sweater or some warm socks for your final Shavasana. As always in our yoga practice, we practice with no socks on, so if you got some socks, lose it and make sure you're wearing some comfortable clothing that you can move around in, because we're doing a lot of really interesting poses today. So again, thank you so much for joining me today, and we're gonna get started. So as always with our practice today, we get started with centering in together. So we're actually just going to start with our knees bent and our heels just underneath our sits bones. If this is an uncomfortable seated position for you, then you can come cross-legged or a different position that you're most comfortable in. So I just want you to roll the shoulders down right here, and I just want you to close the eyes. And we're just going to take a moment to get centered in. And I just want to explain to you what centering in actually means. So before each practice, it's really important to take a moment to just let the mind rest and just kind of let any thoughts that are coming and going, just let them kind of pass. And centering in just means focusing on your breath. So focusing on the inhale and focusing on the exhale. When we practice yoga and our asana practice, we inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose, except for if we're going to do cleansing breaths. So just take a moment here to center in and let go of anything that's maybe bothering you or that you're thinking about. I know there's a lot going on in our world today, and I think it's just important for a few moments just to let go of whatever that all is. Just kind of forget about it and let the weight of the world kind of drop from your shoulders. Inhaling through the nose, exhale through the nose right here. Good. Let's take 4 more breaths here. So again, inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose at your own pace. Let the shoulders roll down. The eyes here. I hope you feel a little bit more relaxed after that. So we're just going to start in Balasana, which is a child's pose. So I'll show you from the front what it looks like. So in child's pose, a couple different variations. You can keep your legs together just as we had them. Or if you want, you can spread the legs wide. So a couple different variations. If you're spreading the legs wide, the toes are going to touch. And you're just going to hinge forward, and the hands are just going to come out in front of you. And your forehead is going to drop to the floor. So that's what it looks like from the front. And from the side, so if you keep your legs together, you're just going to walk the hands all the way out. So again, it depends on where you're at in your flexibility. If you feel like your hips are a little bit too high in the air, it's always really good to spread the legs in. If you're like me, you have really tight hamstrings because of all the cycling that you do, they're going to notice that it's going to be a lot harder to get the hips all the way down to the heels. And always an option, you can take a block and place it just underneath your pelvis there if you like. Just focus on stretching right here. Stretch out the side of the body. Maybe even work to get the forehead down to the floor. Take a few breaths here. Today's practice, we're going to be focusing on our chakra called Ajna. That's actually our third eye. So all of our postures here, we're going to do lots of standing balances, quick stretches here. We're just gonna do some twists again. So we always have to warm up, very crucial to our practice. So we're just gonna sweep the right arm overhead. So we're not gonna be mirroring heels, so just your right side, sweep it up, just stretch it. So our practice today is actually gonna focus on nature and renewal, which I think is really great because spring is here. I know all the things that we usually like to do in the spring, kind of go out, see our friends, do fun things, is kind of on hold right now. But I think it's still really important to celebrate that and celebrate that renewal. So our practice is all going to be about renewal, and our poses are all going to come from a nature standpoint. So a lot of the names you're going to hear. Good. I call this intuitive practice. Your hands behind, intertwine them behind. We did this one last week, so stretch out the chest, and then I want you just to hinge forward again. So you're gonna focus to take that forehead to the ground. And on an inhale, roll up. And we're just gonna find a quick twist here. So again, just warming up that body. So we're just twisting. Hold first few for a couple breaths, and then move with our own breath. Good. So let's move with our own breath. So inhale, and then exhale. Let's just do a couple of these here. So warm up that spine, get the body moving. If this is first thing in the morning that you're doing this, maybe you stretched a little bit before you press play on the video. If it's evening, maybe you want to take a little extra time to make it a little bit more restorative. There's always options, and I'll always give you modifications in the class. So come back to center. So we're just going to find tabletop. So again, with tabletop, the hands plant right underneath the shoulders. Spread the fingers nice and wide. The knees track just underneath the hips here. The toes, if they're tucked, untuck them. Make sure the tops of the feet are flat on the floor. And we're gonna find some cat-cows. So every time we look up, it's an inhale. And every time we roll, it's an exhale, okay? So inhale to rise up, and exhale to roll down. Do a couple more again, warming up the spine, warming up that core, back. Close the eyes. Let's do 2 more. And so let's find a neutral spine right here. So we're actually going to find our first plank, and we're going to take a plank and hold, and then into a side plank to really fire up the core. So again, with the hands tracking underneath the shoulders, take the feet long, you might have to track the hands up a little bit more so you're on your mat, and then find your plank pose right here, and just hold it. So again, tighten up the entire core right here, fire it up, and keep that butt low. So lower the hips. So you're gonna take your right hand first, so take your right hand a little bit in the center. A couple different modifications. First, we're gonna pivot. First modification is you can take that right leg and you can bend the knee and drop the knee to the ground, and take that left hand and just open up the chest right here, and you stay here. That left foot stays firmly planted on the ground. Another variation is you can take that right leg, straighten it, and keep that left leg in front, or if you want to get really adventurous, you can stack the feet one on top of the other, okay? So we're just gonna hold it here for a moment. Let's do some pulsing. So pulse, pulse. Feel the core engage right here. Yes, perfect, good. Stillness. Flip back over. All right, so I'm just gonna switch sides, stay exactly where you are so my back is not turned to you. So from that plank position again, you're now gonna take the left hand in a little bit. Again, take your modification, drop the left leg right here, and just hold and open the chest. You can take the right foot in front, or you can stack right here. If you're feeling very adventurous today, maybe the right arm rises and the right leg rises too. If not, we're just gonna pulse it right here. So pulse. Good. Breathe. We're just getting warmed up, nothing crazy. Go at your own pace. Plant the hands. I'm just gonna flip back over. Find your plank position right here. Nice and strong. Good. So now we're gonna push back and we're gonna find the first downward dog that we're gonna do today. So rise the hips all the way up right here. Pedal it out. Oh, that feels nice. Pedal it out right here. So when we pedal it out, the hips are moving back and forth. Good, little twists right here. Stretch out the back of the legs. Good, let's find some stillness. So in your downward dog, I really want you to focus on pushing the hips all the way up to the ceiling while you try and maybe push the heels all the way down. Definitely not mandatory. Good, feel the stretch all in the arms, all in the back. Good, so now we're gonna walk our feet all the way into our hands. Hold it here, forward fold, roll on up, nice and slow to the top of your mat. Roll the shoulders, good time for some water. That should have got your core all nice and fired up right here. So grab your water if you need. We're gonna set up for our sun salutations. That's again a heat building sequence that we always do before we do any type of standing sequence, again to get the body warmed up. So you come to the top of your mat, right here. So we're gonna inhale, arms rise overhead. Hands come to heart center, and we're just gonna forward fold. Uttanasana, we have been here before, my friends. We have done this before. So inhale, halfway lift. We're gonna do some modified sun salutations today. So we're gonna take the right leg back, step it back, left leg to meet. So we've already done our planks. So what we're gonna do this time, we're actually gonna drop our knees, and then we're gonna lead with our chest and our chin. So untuck the toes, leading first with the chest, and the chin goes all the way down to the floor. Push up to baby cobra right here. Use your back muscles. Tuck the toes. Push yourself up to that plank and downward facing dog, okay? Step the toes together. Right leg rises. Pitch forward, using that hand to help as needed. Come forward with the left. Forward fold, halfway lift. Uttanasana all the way down. Inhale, arms rise overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. So we're gonna do that again one more time, just with the left side. So inhale, hands overhead. Lead with that chest. Forward fold, close your eyes. Halfway. Forward fold, Uttanasana, plant the hands. Left leg steps back. Right to meet it. Find the posture. Find the core, drop the knees. Untuck the toes. Lead with that chest, that chin comes last. Baby cobra, all in the back right here. Tuck the toes, push up to plank, and then downward facing dog. Good. So nice and slow, nice and easy, nothing crazy here. Step the toes together, left leg rises, step it through, give it a helping hand as you need. Pitch forward, inhale halfway, exhale forward fold. Sweep the hands down here, hold it here for just a moment. Let the head hang long. Shake it out just a little bit. Good. Inhale, arms come overhead, hands heart center. Good, so you should be feeling nice and warmed up. So we're gonna move into our next sequence. So we're gonna start on the left side. So wherever you're at, we're gonna start in Tadasana. So we're Tadasana, that is our mountain pose. A couple quick things before we get started. When we're in Tadasana, really, really important to root down through all four corners of your feet. So automatically, right now, if you root down, engage Padabandha, that's your feet right here. Engage it. Your quad muscles automatically engage and your knees engage as well. So we're not hyperextending. When you hyperextend, that is no good for the knees, for the joints. So engage your feet right here. Grasp onto your mat and you're automatically going to engage your lower half. Perfect. So engage right here. Nice and tall. Tuck the belly, down and in. Perfect. All right. So inhale, arms come overhead. Take the heart center right here. So starting with that left leg, you're gonna push back, and we're gonna find a little crescent lunge. So I want you first to take your hands down to the mat, and I want you to find your balance right here, okay? So with your crescent, again, rooting down through that right foot, hands come to your hips, Push up, lead with the core, engage, and then arms rise up overhead. Sink it down right here. A couple options for your hands. You can leave them right where they're at. You're welcome to keep them on your hips, or you can intertwine behind and stretch out the chest. If you are staying with your arms tracked overhead, we're gonna do a little back bend here. So we're just gonna open it up a little bit more. Take it to your edge right here. Feel the stretch right in the curve of the spine. Good. So now we're gonna pivot so that right arm comes out, left arm reaches long, and automatically that left foot is gonna wanna reach out and it's gonna track right at the same edge of your mat right here. So who wants to guess what this pose is? We've been here many times, my friends. Warrior two right here. Sink it down, make it strong. Good, hold it here. Making sure that heel to arch alignment is happening. The knee is tracked over top of the ankle so it's not splayed out and it's not splayed in. It is nice and center and the shoulders are down. Good. Look over top of those right fingertips right here. Good. So now we're going to find humble warrior or peaceful warrior is what we call it sometimes. So you're going to straighten that right leg. Flip the palm of the right hand and the left hand tracks onto that left leg. Good. So we're going to flow through this a couple times. So bending and then rising. So with an inhale we rise and exhale we come back down. So with your own breath, we're going to flow through. So inhale to rise, exhale to sink down. Inhale. Good. Stay with it. A couple more. Come back to warrior two right here. Now we're going to find an extended side angle. So you can keep your feet exactly where they're. If you need to shorten your stance and step that left leg in a little bit, you can right now. Otherwise, stay exactly where you are. You're going to pitch forward. Right arm comes to rest on that right leg. Now the arm right here, the left arm wants to rise up. We're going to swing it through right here. Extended side angle. We've done this before. So with this one, we're stretching out all on the left side right here. Stretch it out. Breathe. Look up to the ceiling right here. Feel that stretch on the left side of the body. What is your body telling you? What does it need today? Maybe this pose is a little bit too intense. Maybe we just come up to a Tadasana mountain pose and we just stretch from side to side. That's perfectly fine. Good. All right, so now we're gonna find half moon, keeping with our nature theme here. Great time to grab blocks if you need. So without coming out of the pose, if you need to grab a block, just make sure they're hanging right beside you. So with half moon, we do it right from extended side angle. So we keep the hips open right here. Our stance with our front foot doesn't change. What we do is we just glide that left leg in a little bit, blocks come out a little bit, and then we're gonna rise up. This is all about balance here. Don't get discouraged. So this is your half moon. So the hips are open. You're just gonna work to raise that left leg up right here, engaging that right leg. That right leg is strong, it is stable right here. Open up the chest. Option, you don't need a block. You can take your hand right down to the floor. Good, hold it here. Find the balance. If you fall out, that's okay. Good, perfect. Drop back down, nice and slow, nice and controlled, good. So now we're gonna pivot and we're gonna find a wide-legged forward fold. So exactly where you're at right here. So wide-legged forward fold, great for the hamstrings. So what we're gonna do is just bend those knees. You're gonna take the toes in just a little bit, track the toes in toward you. Good, hands on the hips right here, leading to the chest, we forward fold. Bend the knee. Right, inhale, exhale, forward fold. Options, you can grab a block and you can stay exactly where you are. If this is where your mobility or flexibility is at, great. If not, you can take your hands all the way to the floor right here. Perfect. Good, let that head drop. So you're gonna feel that stretch all in the back of the hamstrings. Again, if you have tight hamstrings like I do, this is a great stretch. I'll just show you what it looks like from the side. So you know that when you're you're hinging forward, your back is really nice and long. So we're not hinging like this, but we're not hyperextending. Your back is long. Think of it as you can balance something on your back right here, and it's not going to fall like a glass of water. Good. Bending the knees as much as you need. Your stance can be wide or it can be in a little bit. Okay? Perfect. Take a couple more breaths here. Drop the head. Look between the legs. Good. So now we're just going to pivot. We're going to do the right side. So if you just pivot here, who wants to guess what we're going to do next? We're going to find that crescent lunge again. So your hands plant right in front of you again. Now we're on the right side, so that right leg is nice and long and straight, and all the weight comes into the left leg. Rise up, lead with the core, hands come right to your hips right here. Option, you can stay here, hands can come right behind you, engage that chest, open up, or arms come up all the way, and we find a nice back bend here. Keeping in mind that one side is a little bit different than the other. Good. Couple breaths here. So now we're going to windmill that right arm out. Automatically, that right foot is going to turn so it's in line with the back of that mat. Nice wide stance right here. Heel to arch alignment. Make sure that those 2 feet are lined up perfectly. Let's first make sure our knee is tracked over top of the ankle, so not splayed out on either side. Sink down right here. Arms come up nice and wide, shoulders down. Tuck the belly in and up. Look over top of that left hand right here. Good. Feel the power. Feel your core fired up. Feel both legs fired up. Breathe. This is a beautiful way to stretch right here to open it up. Open up your hips, open up your chest. Good. So you know exactly where we're going to go. We're going to find that flow again with the humble or peaceful warrior. So straighten the left leg, or left palm rises up, and you're just going to flow through here with your own breath. So exhale to come down, inhale to rise up. Good. Find this beautiful flow right here. Think of how powerful you are. Think of renewal. Right here, spring is upon us. Let's do 2 more. Good. The next one we'll find stillness. Find that powerful warrior 2 pose right here. Sink it down, sink it down. Good. So now we're going to find extended side angle. So you can keep the legs exactly where they're at. So you're going to pitch forward just a little bit. The left arm tracks down. Again, that right arm wants to rise. Instead of it, let it go overhead. We're going to windmill it out. Good. And then we're really going to work to open that chest. Open, open, open. Look up to the ceiling. You can always look down to the floor if you want. When we look up, it challenges our balance a little bit more. And again, you're going to feel that stretch all on the side. Modification for these ones, you can stay in Tadasana, and you can stretch it out just like this. So if that extended side angle pose is just a little bit too intense for you today, or it's not in your practice, then that's perfectly fine. Open up the chest. Good. So now we're going to find our half moon pose. So again, windmill that arm down right here. So we're just going to pivot. So you're going to drag that right foot just in a little bit. Again, block or hand to the floor if you want. Right hand to your right hip, and we're just going to rise up. So the goal of this pose is to actually get this leg right here to rise up as high as it can. So maybe for some of us, it's okay down here, close to the floor. Or maybe for some of us with our hips and our flexibility and our hip flexors, we can really rise right here and push that leg all the way up. Find your balance, find the power in the left leg, you've got it. Good. Carefully, mindfully drop that right foot. Sweep the hand right here, wide-legged forward fold. So let's just rise up here. We're gonna set up our stance first. So take your stance as wide as you like, toes turn a little bit, generous bend in the knees as needed. Hands come to hips. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold, hinging from the hips right here. Nice flat back. Head comes last. Option, hands to the blocks. You can leave it right here. Or hands plant to the floor. And look through the legs right here. Couple variations for your hands. You can take your hands, intertwine them behind you, and press it up. Those hands, place them back on the ground or on a block, then take them up to your hips and very carefully, one vertebrae at a time, rise up, head comes last, roll up, right here, very nice. Then step those legs together here, one more quick pose and then we'll have a break for a drink. So finding Tadasana again, that strong mountain pose. We're gonna find a little chair pose. Fire up the legs again. We're gonna incorporate some twists. So arms are gonna rise up overhead. Options for your legs. You can keep them hip width apart, or you can take them in together. I really encourage you to play around with what feels best for your body. So wherever you're at, you sit down right here. Let's take our hands to heart center. So if your legs are in, just make sure the knees, shins, everything is touching. We're gonna start on the right side. So inhale, and then exhale, we're gonna twist to the right. So we're gonna try and take that left elbow and knead it on that right knee. Really twist to open. So with these twists, we're actually massaging like the colon. So when we twist right, we massage the ascending colon. When we twist left, it massages the descending colon. So there's always a purpose to a movement in yoga. Good. Inhale, rise up. Keep that chair right here. Keep it, keep it, keep it. Hands to heart center, twist. Very nice. If that right knee wants to track out, just let it come naturally. Good. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, come down. Time for some water. We're gonna start with our balancing sequence next. So we got a couple different poses that we're gonna run through. We've got 3 of them actually. So I'll give some modifications for all 3. It's really gonna challenge your balance, your posture, in keeping with our chakra. Just again, that spring renewal theme that we have for today's class. All right. So we're gonna start facing the camera on our mat here. So just facing your screen wherever you're at. And we're gonna start on the right side today. So again, 3 different poses. We're gonna move in and out of them. We're gonna do the right side, then the left side. So we're gonna find tree pose. So again, we start tree pose in Tadasana. Nice and strong, root through all 4 corners of those feet right here. Engage everything, tuck the belly down and in. So with tree pose variations, sink down through that right leg. So automatically when you get strong in that right leg, that left leg kind of wants to rise. A couple of variations, you can keep the toes on the floor and just find tree just like this. Hands can come to hips or to heart center, and if this is enough for you, you can stay. Other variation, it can come right on the shin. So now you're really kind of focusing on your balance right here. Again, hands to heart center. Or if your balance is there and that's part of your practice, you can take that left foot and just kind of take it up towards like the inside of the hips there. Not on the knee, making sure you're not on the knee joint at all. Hands to heart center right here, tree pose, Breann'es. Good. Now if you'd like to get some branches, you can float the hands up and really challenge your balance right here. Find a drishti point. Drishti point is a non-moving object. And if you fall out of the pose, give yourself some forgiveness. That is okay. Good. Hands back down if they were up. Back to the hips. And just slide it down. Shake it out. All right, switch sides. Again, root down through that left foot right here. Root it down, make it so strong that that right leg wants to rise right here. Options, you can keep those toes on the floor, take them right to your shins, or just take that foot inside right here. One side may be different than the other. One side you're like, whoa, the balancing, I don't know if I can do this side, and that's perfectly normal. So for some of us, maybe we're still working on the balance on one side, and that's okay. And perhaps maybe our energy is just a little bit different today, and we just need to give our bodies a little bit of a break and some love. Good. Rise it up, find those tree branches, find that nature right here. If you want more of a challenge, you can close your eyes or look up to the ceiling. Yoga is fun, yoga is playful, and I encourage you all to find that play at any time when you come to your mat. Hands back to heart center, back to hips, lower it down, shake it out. All right, so now we're gonna find Warrior 3 pose. So we're gonna start in Warrior 1 right here. So on the right side, so that right leg comes out, the left leg just tracks behind it. You wanna make sure it's on 2 different tracks right here. So just step it out a little bit, making sure it's not tracked behind. And it's just on like a 90-degree angle here. The hips, I need you to turn all the way to the front of the room. So wherever you're facing towards your camera or your phone, make sure the hips are away. Blocks are an option because we are gonna rise up like we did in half moon. So have your blocks nearby if you need them. So we're just gonna hinge forward right here. For some of us, maybe this is all we wanna do. We wanna just stay right here. Or if you want, you can press off. And with that balance, that challenge, that left leg rises. Options, hands can stay where they are, or grab your blocks and you rest them right here. If you're feeling adventurous and it's in your practice, your hands can come down to the ground right here, or they come to your shins. Good. Find that non-moving point right here and focus. Left toes point down. Breathe. Good. You can remove your hands, put them back on your blocks. Mindfully drop that left foot down. Push up, rise up, hands come to the ceiling. Back down to your hips. Good. Shake it out. How did that one feel? A little bit intense, right? So let's switch sides now. So with the left leg comes out. The right foot just tracks right behind it. Again, 90-degree on the mat. The hips, move them so they're facing all the way in the front. Shoulders down, core engaged. Again, you can grab the blocks, you have time, place them in front of you if you need that safety net. Otherwise, we're just gonna hinge forward. You can stay here. Otherwise, start lifting that right foot up, 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 up. The hips, making sure they're still square, because now instead of facing the front of the room, they're gonna start pointing downwards. Option, float the hands, find the balance in that leg right here. Before you do anything tricky, find the balance. This is what the pose is about. You can take your hands to your shins, shoulders down. Good. If you fall out, that is okay, be kind to yourself. Lift that back leg up, lift, 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 lift. Good. Lower back down to the ground. Rise up. Hands come down. Shake it out. One more pose, we're gonna find dancer's pose now here. Option with dancer's pose, you can use the wall for support with your free hand. So if you have a wall nearby or something really stable that can hold you up, I suggest kind of just moving to that spot right now. So with our dancer pose, the misconception with dancer pose is that people think you need to come all the way down to the ground, when in fact with dancer's pose, the main goal of it is actually just to get your foot up to your head. So for some of us, it's really hard to do because we don't have the flexibility and we just don't commonly stretch like that. So we're gonna start with our right leg pointed all the way down to the ground and cemented in, so engaging all 4 corners right here. So with our dancer's pose, we're gonna take our left hand, grasp it behind, and grabbing the outside of that left foot right here. So again, you can stay exactly where you're at right here. You can get a nice quad stretch too if you're not in the mood to do a dancer's pose, that's fine. Using the wall for support if you like, or the balance is there. You're gonna raise that right arm up. You're welcome to stay here, or you start lifting that left leg up, 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 up. As you start to lift, that upper body does want to lead and go down to the floor. But with that right arm, I want you to try and raise, 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 raise. So eventually, one day, the left foot comes all the way up to the head. Good, stay here, breathe. Good job. 2 breaths, you can do this. Good, come back up first. Arm comes down, release. Very nice. Shake it out. Woo! All right, let's do the other side. This is your last balance pose right here. So again, just like we did on the other side, you can use the wall for support with that left hand. So reading through that left foot first, back a little bit. Good. So you're first going to grab the outer side of that right foot with the right hand. You can keep this as a quad stretch if you like, if you just want to stay here. Otherwise, if you're ready, you can raise that left arm all the way up. And as you start to float into the dancer pose, focus right here. Guide that foot with that hand, guide it up. We're not pulling, nothing is burning, nothing feels like it's going to pop out of place. Breathe right here. Good. Hold it here. If you fall out of the pose, that's okay. Go back into it. Perfect. Come back down. Go that foot. Ooh, goodness. Okay, those were challenging poses. Good time for a drink right here. And we'll set up for our nice floor series and cool down together, right? All right, so we're gonna come down to the floor right now. And we're just gonna find some core engagement exercises right here. So if working on the core is maybe not something that you want to do today, that's perfectly fine. You can do some inversions if there's a different pose that's in your practice, like headstands, handstands, or plow, or anything like that. Now would be the perfect time to do them. Otherwise, we're all going to come down to the floor and we're going to find some yogi bicycles, as we call them. So with yogi bicycles, just like we do in a regular bicycle, where we twist, twist. Except we're not going to be going at a fast rate of speed, we're going with our breath. So, with the legs planted on the feet planted on the floor, we're going to rise up, knees come to meet, and you're going to take opposite elbow to knee, whichever side you want to start with. And with your breath, so exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Good, good, good. Stay with it. Engage that core right here. Perfect. Keep going. Do 3 more. And 1 more right here. Good. Come on down. Give those knees a nice hug right here. Ah, that feels nice. Perfect. So we're going to do a little bridge pose right here, just to strengthen the back muscles. We've done bridge a couple times already together. Definitely one of my favorite poses to do. So it's really great for a cool down pose right here. So you're just going to roll the shoulders down and in. You're going to make sure the heels are tucked nice and close to your sits bones right here. So again, you should be able to brush the back of your heels. And on an inhale, we're just going to rise up. And just roll those shoulders underneath. So let's just stay here. We're going to prepare ourselves for some kind of leg core floor exercises. I don't really have a name for them, but for now we're just going to fire up through our bridge pose. So let's hold here. Okay, lower down. Good. Let's take a couple breaths here. Let the heart rate come down. Let's do that again. So tuck the shoulders, roll it in, but this time, if it's there for you, you're going to raise the right leg up, and then lower, and then left leg, and lower. Good. Stay with it, keeping the hips up. If they drop, push them up. Challenge yourself. You should be able to feel this right in the obliques, in the lower back right here, in the glutes. Keeping the hands nice and long. Got it, stay with it. Chin is nice and tall, look up to the ceiling. Good. Perfect, find some stillness. Lower down. Hug those knees in. Give yourself a little love here, a little hug. Roll it from side to side. Perfect. Find some stillness. So we're gonna rock up to sit now. So we're gonna find a little bit of momentum. So when we rock, we're gonna tuck those fingers under our knees, just like this. So let's just rock a couple times, and eventually, when we rock up, we can come all the way up to sit, right here. So we're actually gonna find a hero's pose. Now, with a hero's pose, just like we did in the beginning with our legs stacked underneath us, so this time we're gonna take our lower back all the way down to the floor. Couple variations, again, keeping the heels underneath the sits bones, or you can take them wider if it's there for you. And eventually, we'll be able to get our buttocks all the way down to the ground. Options, you can sit on a block on this one. I prefer to. I find it gives me a little bit more mobility, a little bit more grounding when I sit down, because again, my quads are very tight. So when we sit back and roll all the way back down to the ground in this pose, you're gonna feel a nice stretch all in the front of those quads. So if you like, you're gonna take your hands on your heels right here. A couple variations with hero's pose. With full extension, you can just open the chest, and for some of us, this is totally fine. This is as far as we want to go. And you feel the stretch in your quads. Otherwise, if you want, you can come all the way down, keeping those hands on the heels, all the way down to your elbows. And if you're there, you can drop your head and look behind you. Feel the stretch all in the front of those legs. If you would like the full extension to go all the way down, you can lose the elbows. It's not in my practice, so I don't do it, but some people like to come all the way down to their back where their head touches the floor. So if that's there for you, go for it. Feel the stretch. Feel the intensity of this pose. Anytime you need to come out, you come out. So when we do come out of this pose, we come out very slowly, very mindfully. So first we're gonna start rising up. Taking your hands up to your feet. Neck comes last. Roll up to sit, roll up nice and slow. And the head comes up last. Oh boy. That's a very intense pose. I hope you felt that intensity at home. I did. You can remove the block right here. All right, so we just got a couple more stretches to do before we get into our final Shavasana. So we're gonna take our legs nice and wide. And I want you to untuck the fleshy parts from underneath your sits bones. Now, option, hands or legs can come nice and wide as much as you need. Some of us, we like to tuck it in. Personally, I like my legs a little bit wider, and I like to bend my knees because the hamstrings are very tight. I also really love putting my blocks underneath my knees because I find that at least I have some support to keep my legs from collapsing all the way down to the ground and straining anything. So very important. So we're gonna flow through just a couple little stretches right here. So we're gonna rise with our arms up. And every time we take our hands to heart center, we're just gonna pitch forward and feel a stretch. So inhale to rise nice and tall. Exhale to come forward. Flow through with your breath. Nice and easy right here, pitch forward. That seems a little odd, but I promise you it feels so nice and juicy. Let's do two more together. Inhale and exhale. One more. Good. Move the blocks if they're there. Shake it out if you need. So before we come into our Shavasana pose, we're going to do one more Balasana, one more child's pose. And keeping in accordance with our chakra that we're working on today, our third eye right here. It's really great for opening that chakra to do a lot of poses where the forehead touches the floor and lots of balancing poses, which is exactly what we worked on today. So one more juicy child's pose here. So legs can come wide, you can place a block underneath you if you like, and you're gonna track the hands all the way up. And really work to bring the fingertips all the way to the top of the mat. And I want you to think of what the difference is in this balasana compared to what we did in the beginning. Do you feel like you're a little bit longer, a little bit more stretched out? Take the forehead to the floor. Good. Ready, just rise up. You can choose to stay in your balasana pose as long as you like. For right now, we're just gonna find a nice shavasana for a few mindful moments. I definitely encourage you at the end of your practice, if you'd like to stay longer in shavasana, please do that. For now, we're just gonna do about less than a minute right now. So great to put on a cozy sweater, get your blanket, put some socks on, and meet me in shavasana. Good. Let the arms flail out, palms up to the ceiling. Let the legs flail out so that the toes are just out. So nice and relaxed in this position. Close the eyes. And for just less than a minute, we're just gonna breathe. And we're gonna feel all the benefits from our practice today. And let thoughts just come and go mindfully. Let them do their thing. Breathing. If you want to envision a color to really focus on, envision the color blue, a nice bright blue color of the sky. That's the color of the chakra that we're working on today. Or envision something in nature. Something that makes you feel happy, that's beautiful, and a sense of peace and serenity. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. Again, please stay in shavasana as long as you like. You really don't need to come out. You're welcome to stay in it for our final part of the practice. Otherwise, we're just going to roll up nice and slow to a seated position. Just roll onto your side, facing the camera right here. And just with your eyes closed, just mindfully sit up and find a nice seated position. I encourage you to stay in that hero's pose, just like we did in the beginning. And again, whatever's comfortable for you. Keep the eyes closed. Keep your palms down on your thighs right here. And keep that mindful aspect, that sense of peace right here. And in accordance with how I love to practice all my yoga classes, I like to lead with some kind words. So here are my kind words for you today. I use thoughts and words of strength and love, and everything that I think and say comes back to me. So just repeat that to yourself. I use thoughts and words of strength and love, and everything that I think and say comes back to me. Very powerful words. So carry that with you throughout the rest of your day, as long as you need. Hands to Heart Center, thank you so much for joining me today. Again, my name is Breanne. Please feel free to connect with me inside the studio. You can find me on Instagram, Breanne_Ray2, and I hope to see you soon. Namaste.